Hello everyone and welcome to Learn MSBI in 4 days with a project end to end. Again I repeat, welcome to the series of Learn MSBI in 4 days with a project end to end. Now each day of this training comprises of 8 hours of teaching because a person works maximum for 8 hours, right? So every day of this training will comprise 8 hours of teaching. So that means you can also say that this series can also be renamed as, or it can also be named as Learn MSBI in 32 hours with a project. Now the first question which will come to your mind is it really possible to learn MSBI in 4 days in 32 hours? That means I sit on Monday and then we have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Thursday I'm done with MSBI and Friday I can go and do a party. The answer is yes. Absolutely yes. Because even though MSBI is a giant thing, still MSBI is simple, it is sweet. And I can bet you, I can give you 100% guarantee, nobody gives that in the world, I can give you 100% guarantee that if you watch even this 1 hour video, you should be able to work on an MSBI project. Now, before we move ahead, let us try to understand this word BI. Let us try to understand the definition of this word business intelligence. Business intelligence or BI is nothing but it's a process of converting data into information. So BI, again I repeat, BI is nothing but converting your data into information. Now, if you look at the English vocabulary of both of these things, that's data and information, you will understand that they look very much similar, but they are very much different. When we say data, data is normally a technical format, right? For example, your data can lie in a CSV format. Your data can lie in SQL Server. Your data can lie in some binary format. Your data can lie in an Excel sheet. I don't know what, right? So data is more of a technical format. And if you ask a simple end user to go and understand this technical format, it is very difficult. So you have to take this data, you have to take all this technical format and present it to the user in a very user-friendly way so that he can understand that data and make meaning out of the data. That thing, which is where we say that we have to make meaning out of the data is nothing but information. So BI is nothing but it's a process of transforming from your technical data to a meaningful information so that the end user can look at that information and make proper decisions. He can do forecasting. He can run his business in a more proper manner. Now, this journey from data to information involves a very important step called as analysis. Now, this analysis involves a lot of complexity. Because if you look at the data side, data can be in different formats. You can have data in CSV, you can have data in XML, you can have data in SQL Server. And to go and run the analysis algorithm individually on each one of these data sources is very difficult, tedious, and it is also illogical actually. So the best approach would be to take this data and dump it into some central database. This central database is termed as data warehouse. And later on, what we can do is on this central database, we will go and run the analysis algorithm, right? So first part is you have data. Then this data is dumped into your central database called as data warehouse. And on this data warehouse, the analysis is run. And from that analysis, information is generated. Now, again, the journey from data to data warehouse is not so easy. It involves a lot of processing. It involves a lot of massaging of data. If you see the data part, the data is available in different data sources. So you have XML, you have CSV, you have binary formats, etc. And if you want to go and bring all of this data, different data types into that central database, the first thing what you have to do is you have to do extraction of data. You have to extract data from these data sources and dump them into this common platform, right? Or in the common data warehouse. So the first process involves extraction. The second process involves transformation. Transformation means if you look at the data sources, they have different data types. For example, must be, one of the data sources terms a male as M and a female as F. And in some other data source, they are saying male as 1 and female as 0, right? So when we bring this different data types into the common data warehouse, right, we need to go and ensure that the data has been transformed into the common format. So the second step involves transformation. And the last step involves loading this transformed data into data warehouse. So in short, the journey from data to data warehouse involves extraction, transformation and loading. This complete process in MSBI world, or I'll say rather in BI world, is termed as ETL. Now once the data has been analyzed from the data warehouse, we would like to store this analysis into some kind of a data store. So this data store structure is termed as a cube. And from this cube, we display the information, or we display this data to the end user as information. So some kind of a reporting software will read this data from this cube and show it to the end user as a information. Now, this is the complete BI cycle. Right from data to information, the first thing what we need to do is we need to do ETL. After that, we need to do analysis and create a cube out of it. I'll talk about this cube structure later on in more details when we look into SSAS. And after that, we would like to go and display this analysis to the end user in a simplified graphical manner, or must be in a tabular manner, or whatever it is, right? Now, Microsoft MSBI solution, right? Remember, this BI word is very generic, business intelligence. Whatever I'm discussing now is BI. So you have both Microsoft as well as non-Microsoft solution for it. But when you use the word MSBI, that means Microsoft SQL Server BI, that means we are specifically talking about Microsoft technologies here. Now, MSBI provides end-to-end support to the full BI cycle. So this BI cycle which I discussed, right from data to information, MSBI provides full support for it. Now, when you go and create an MSBI project, I will talk about the necessary softwares later on. But for now, you can see on the screen, if you want to go and create a MSBI project, right, you are given different templates here. You can see that I have clicked on this business intelligence link. And as soon as I click on this business intelligence links, there are lots of templates you can see, right, which is displayed on the screen. And each one of these templates serve, some section of your BI life cycle. For example, the ETL section, that is the journey from data to the data warehouse, is done by integration services project. The analysis part, where we run the analysis and we create a cube, is done by this analysis services template. The reporting part, where we take that massage data or the analyzed data and show it to the end user, is done by the report server project. So all of these three templates, so integration services, report server and analysis services actually help you to get that full BI automation. So this integration services is also termed as SSIS. The analysis services is termed as SSAS. That SS stands for SQL Server. So SQL Server Analysis Services, SQL Server Integration Services, and the last one is reporting services, that is SSRS. So SSIS to do the ETL, SSAS to do the analysis, and SSRS to display that analyzed data to the end user. And before we move ahead, here is a nice cartoon, which is created by my friend, Mr. Shitsikar. And, if you look at this cartoon, you will understand, the importance of each one of these templates and where, they are helpful in the BI cycle. Right. So now that we know, that what is the role of SSIS, what is the role of SSAS, what is the role of SSRS, we can now go and start executing our project. So before we execute our project, let us try to understand what project we are going to complete. Now, before we start our project, we need to have all the necessary tools with us, right? So that, we don't have any problems while executing the project. So the first thing is we are going to learn MSBI using SQL Server 2014, which is the latest edition while I'm making this video. So go ahead and download the SQL Server 2014 Enterprise Edition. Now you can see here that I have not said you to download some ordinary edition like Express or something. I have told you to download Enterprise, a full-blown edition, because this tutorial is targeted to make you a true MSBI professional. So I don't want to lose any kind of installations or any kinds of things. So just go ahead and download this this ultimate kind of thing, that is the Enterprise edition. And remember that the Enterprise edition evaluation period is 180 days, which is more than enough for you to learn MSBI. Okay, so first thing is you need to go and download the SQL Server Enterprise edition, install it. The next thing what you need is the SQL Server data tools. So go ahead and download the SQL Server data tools for 2013. So when you search on Google SQL Server data tools 2013, you will come to this link. So go ahead and install this SQL Server data tools 2013. Now you must be wondering that why have we installed two different tools, right? So the first thing, that is the SQL Server 2014 Enterprise edition, what you have downloaded is nothing but the actual SQL Server RDBMS. So when you install the SQL Server Enterprise edition, you would get something like this, where you can go and create the database, where you can go and create tables, etc. So the Enterprise edition is the SQL Server Enterprise edition is nothing but the main SQL Server for storing data, creating tables, writing stored procedures, etc. And the next thing, what you have downloaded, the data tools, is to create the MSBI project. So the whole coding of extraction, transformation, loading, analysis, reporting, you are going to go and do by using this 2013 data tools. So when you install 2013 data tools, right, what you get is you get such kind of a menu. If you're not able to locate this, what you can do is you can go to SQL Server 2014, and inside that you go to SQL Server 2014. Inside that you can find here SQL Server data tools for Visual Studio 2013. Now remember, in case you're going to use different if when further new versions come in, it will just be SQL Server data tools for like 2015 or 2016, right? So only the versions will change here, but the other things would remain same, right? Now so you have the database and you have the tool here, and if you want to go and create a project, what you will do is you will do a file, new project, and you will click on this business intelligence menu, and then you can go ahead and start creating a SSIS project or a SSAS project or SSRS project, depending on situation what you're working on. So let us first discuss about the project, what we're going to execute in this MSBI learning. The project is a very, very simple customer information system. This customer information system gets data from CSV files. So these CSV files have to be imported. That means it has to be extracted, it has to be transformed, it has to be imported into the system, and then from the imported data we need to go and give some reports to the end user. So this customer data which comes into the system is a simple CSV file. So basically it has a customer name. Remember, CSV file means it's a comma separated file. So it has customer name, it has customer amount, it has customer code, and the sales date, when the customer actually brought the product. So let me go and put some data into this CSV file here, and this CSV file you can get from the questponvd.com from the site, right? So you don't have to really type this out. So I'm going to go and enter some dummy data here. So let's assume that this customer code is unique. Okay, so the customer code which is coming into the system has to be unique. Okay, so 1001 Shiv and 100.23, let us say, and the sales date is 1/1/2010, right? In the same way 1002, let us say Raju, 300 is amount, 2/2/2012. So you can see that I have entered like 8 records over here in the CSV, and this is 2015, right? So you can see that I have entered approximately 8 records over here. So let me go and save this file. Now the extension of the file is not important, so it can be txt or it can be any other extension, but the format of the file has to be CSV. Format means the internal data representation of the file has to be comma separated. So at this moment I will just give the name here as customer.txt. So the extension does not matter, but the format of the file, that means over here, it should be comma separated. So basically this customer information system, gets this customer data inside this CSV file, and this CSV file has to be imported first thing in the data warehouse, and then over that data warehouse we need to go and generate the report. So now the first thing is we need to go and create a data warehouse where we would like to go and upload this CSV file, right? So I'm going to go to my SQL Server 2014. So go ahead and open SQL Server 2014, right? Click on this SQL Server Management Studio and open SQL Server. So let us go to SQL Server and let us create a very simple database here called as Customer Data Warehouse, and let us give a name to this database as Customer Data Warehouse. Okay, so now the goal is that we need to go and upload this CSV file into our customer data warehouse. So if you go to the database here, we have that customer data warehouse. You can see we have the customer data warehouse somewhere. So there it is. So now our goal is to load this CSV file into this customer data warehouse. And if you remember, the first stage in our BI life cycle which loads the data into the data warehouse is by using ETL. And in order to do ETL, we need to go and create a SSIS project. So the first thing is, in this customer data warehouse, let us go and create a simple table. So I'm going to go and create a table here, and this table will have 4 fields. One is customer code and varchar, customer name and varchar, customer amount. Now when we talk about financial values like amount or any kind of accounts financial values, we would like to keep that data type as money, and sales date when the customer did the sales. I'll just put it as sales date, right? Date and time. Save this. I'll save this as TBL customer, right? And let me go and make this as a primary key. So I'm going to go and make this customer code as a primary key. Control S. Okay, now you can see here I'm getting this error saying that saving changes is not permitted. This is one of those errors which you will keep getting in SQL Server. What this means, what this error says is that if you want to go and save these changes, right, then the table has to be dropped and recreated, which is a dangerous thing, right? So he's actually sending out a warning to you. So what you can do here is, remember this step, you will always get this error again and again. Tools, options, and you need to go to the designer here, and you need to go and say prevent saving changes that require stable recreation, right? And say Control S. But remember that it's a very dangerous thing, so don't try to do this in production. But what it means is that it will actually go and drop your table and recreate it, create the same with using this new changes what you have done. So I'm done with everything. Nice. So right, so now our main goal is to load this data, right? Load this data from the CSV file into this SQL Server table here, right? So that's our main goal. So in order to do this, remember we said we have to use SSIS to do the ETL, we have to use SSAS to do the analysis, and we have to use SSRS to do the reporting, right? So at this moment our goal is to extract this data from this file and push it to this table, right? So let us go and open SQL Server Data Tools for Visual Studio 2013. You can get this thing from here, or if you wish you can get this thing from here as well, right? So let me go and click on this. So there it is opening. So let us click on new project. So you can see that the Visual Studio 2013 SQL Server Data Tools has opened. I have clicked on new project, and let us go to this business intelligence menu. Let us click on integration services. Remember, Why integration services? Because we want to do ETL. You can see this word here, ETL. Okay. Now, in order to create a SSIS project, there are two ways. One is you can use this from scratch template, right? And the other one is you can use the wizard. So let us not use the wizard. Let us try to go and learn the hard way, right? So I'm going to go and browse over here and create this project in a separate folder altogether. So let me go and create a folder here saying customer information system. Okay, right. I'll select this folder and let me give a name here saying SSIS customer. Okay, let me say okay. Now once the new project is created, you would see something like this on your screen. You would see 5 tabs at the top and you would see this SSIS toolbox. In case you are not able to see the SSIS toolbox, what my suggestion is to go and click on this SSIS menu and click on the SSIS toolbox menu. Okay, so you will see this 5 tabs and the toolbox. For now, don't think about these 3 tabs. You can see there are 3 tabs here: parameters, event handlers, and package explorer. Don't think about these 3 tabs for now. Okay, concentrate only on the toolbox, control flow, and data flow. So in other words, at this moment we will just concentrate on control flow, data flow, and SSIS toolbox. The other 3 tabs, I will talk later, as we move ahead. Again, from these 2 tabs, that is control flow and data flow, let us concentrate more at this moment on data flow tab. As time goes by, I will definitely explain you all the tabs, but I don't want to pressurize on the first time itself with all these concepts, right? Let us try to complete that project. Complete that project means load that file, that CSV file, into table, right? So let us try to learn less concepts here, less theory, and as time comes, I will explain you all the tabs. Don't worry, it's a promise. Okay. Now, but in case you still want to have a definition around you, this control flow is nothing but it invokes the data flow. So that's not the full definition, but in case some of the people they would like to still have some kind of a very mild definition, then you can think about that this control flow invokes the data flow. Okay, so let us go ahead and drag and drop this data flow task component from this SSIS toolbox, and let us give a name here saying load CSV. Right now, if I double click on this, you can see that it has fallen back to the data flow task. Okay, so you can see here I am on the control flow tab. If I double click on it, it goes to data flow. So in other words, you can see that control flow has data flow code. In other words, control flow invokes the data flow. And second, one more important point to note here is you can see that the SSIS toolbox changes when it goes from control flow to data flow. You can see here the SSIS toolbox looks like this when you are in control flow, but the time you go to data flow, the SSIS toolbox looks different. Okay, now this data flow tab is the tab where you go and write the ETL code. In other words, your extraction, transformation, and loading code is all written in this data flow tab. Control flow invokes the data flow. So that's a very simple definition for now, but later on I will go into more in-depth definition as the video moves ahead. But for now, remember, control flow invokes the data flow. So when you go and double click on the control flow, it goes to the data flow tab, and you can see now when you see this data flow tab, when you are on the data flow tab, and if you see the toolbox, you can see that it has that essence of ETL. You can see here there are components for source. So in other words, you would like to first go and extract the data from the source. So that is done by all these source component. The next thing is you would like to go and do some transformation right on the data. You can see for that we have the transforms, and finally you would like to go and load that into the to the destination. So you can see your ETL thing is seen in this data flow tab here. So remember, this source is for extraction, this transform is for transformation, and destination is for loading. So all your ETL is done in this data flow tab. So let us go step by step. So the first thing is we need to do the extraction. In other words, we need to go and define the source from where the data will come in, right? Now remember that our source at this moment is nothing but it's a simple flat CSV file, right? So you can see that when I clicked on these other sources, you can see there are lots of different types of sources here, but for now what we need is we need a flat file source. So I'm going to go and drag and drop this flat file source over here. Now every component you drag and drop on the data flow task or control flow task, the first thing you need to do is you need to go and configure the component. Now if any component is not configured, then you can see the red sign here like this. So you can see now, because I have just dragged and dropped this component, there is a red sign here indicating that this component is not configured, right? In order to configure the component, you need to right click on the component and then say edit. So you need to right click on the component and say edit. Now every source component, in order to connect to the actual data, needs something called as the connection manager. So for example, you can see now here we have this flat file source, and this flat file source has to get connected to this customer.csv, right? So in order to connect this component to this actual CSV source, right, to the flat file source, we need something called as the connection manager. So let us go and create a connection manager here. So I'm going to go and click on new here, and let us give a nice name to this connection manager here. So let us give a nice name like CSV connection, right? And some small description here so that whenever some other developers read this, they would understand what is the use of this connection manager. And the next thing is we need to go and give the file name. So at this moment our file is located, so this file is located, customer.txt is located on the C drive. So I will go and browse into the C drive, and I will say customer.txt. Okay, right, there it is. Now the flat file connection manager has lots of options here. You can see code page, locale, etc., right? Don't get distracted with all the options for now. So let me start off with some minimal options so that we can start moving this project ahead, and later on we'll discuss more details about it. So the first thing you can see here, this small checkbox here saying that the first data row, is it the column names? So it means that the first row here, does it involve the column names? Yes, it is. So you can see that it is checked. Second, it is a delimited file. Yes, it's a delimited file. And you can go here and you can also see a preview, saying that, okay, how does the preview looks like? And in case your delimiter is not a comma, I'm sorry, if it is a tab or if it's a semicolon, you can always go and choose one of these options. But at this moment, our column delimiter is a comma, so I'm going to use this. And what is your row delimiter? So at this moment it is a enter, so I'm going to go and use this, and leave these things at this moment, do a preview and just say okay, Now the time you do okay, you can see that the red sign has gone off. This indicates that your component has been configured. And as a best practice, always go and put some description. You can see now at this moment it is just flat file source, and tomorrow if somebody comes and reads this program, he won't be able to understand it, right? So let us go and give some description here saying, okay, read from CSV, right? Great. Now if you watch the source component very closely, there are two arrows coming out from the source component, right? One is the blue arrow, and the other one is the red arrow. Now the blue arrow is the arrow where the actual data will come out, and the red arrow will have errors inside it. So in case while reading from the CSV file, if there are any kind of errors, those will be sent into this red arrow here, and in this blue arrow the actual data will come out. So now what we'll do is we have already done the extraction. The next thing is transformation, right? So for now we'll not do any kind of transformation. Let us just do the loading part. So in other words, the data is just extracted and loaded, and then I will gradually add the transformation later on. Okay, so let us go ahead here and add a destination here. So currently you can see that I am putting ADO.NET destination. Why? Because my end database is a SQL server, right? And what I need to do is I need to take this blue arrow and drag and drop to this ADO.NET destination, because at the end of the day, the data is coming in the blue arrow, right? So I need to go and drag and drop the blue arrow to the ADO.NET destination input. So the output of this source is now becoming the input to the destination. And again, you can see that this destination component is not configured, so it is having a red color. Again, I need to right click, I need to say edit. And here again, we need to specify the connection manager, but this time the connection, the source at the other end, is SQL server. So let us go to our SQL server here. So we need to get the server name. To get the server name, you need to click on file and you need to click on connect, and whatever server name you get here, you're going to go and copy this. Again, I repeat, you need to click on file, connect, and you can copy the server name from here, and I'll say new. So we need to go and specify the data connection. So again, I'm going to go and click on new here, and I will say this server name, Control V, and I will say the database, where I need to go and load this is our customer data warehouse, right? So customer data warehouse, there it is. My authentication at this moment is Windows. Okay, I'll say test connection, and I will say okay, and I will say okay. And now a database has lots of tables, right? So this CSV file has to be uploaded into which table? So at this moment I have only one table, TBL customer. So that's where we are going to go and upload this data. And the next thing is we need to go and specify the mappings. So basically, if you remember, our customer CSV file was this, right? So we need to go and specify the mapping, saying that basically which field of the CSV file will map to which field of the table, right? So you can see here. So I've said that, okay, customer code maps with customer code, customer name maps with customer name, amount maps with amount, and sales date maps with sales date. Now remember that at this moment, the field names of the table and the CSV column names are same. That's why the mapping has happened automatically. But in case the mapping was not automatic, so you would see something like this. So if you would see that the mappings are not created. So you need to go and drag and drop the source and map it to the destination like this, right? And then I will say okay, and this is done. So you can see now this is again changed back here. So the red sign has gone off. Again, let us go and put some proper naming convention here, saying that this is customer data warehouse, right? And let us go and save this. So let me go and run this application. Now, in order to run this application, you can click on this start button here, or you can click on F5. So let me click on the start button, and and you can see that there is an error here, and this error says that I'm not able to deserialize this package. Okay, it's good that errors are coming, and let me help you out, what this error is all about. So this error is because of the 32-bit and the 64-bit runtime issue, right? So what you can do is right click on this project. Okay, you can see now we have a solution here and we have a project. So right click on the SSIS project. Remember, this is a solution and this is a project. Okay, so in one solution you can have multiple projects. So right click on this and go to properties, and over here go and change this run 64-bit runtime true to false, because it's possible that what must have happened is when I did the installation, I must have installed the 32-bit SSIS runtime. Okay, so fine, I've done that, and now let us go and run this, and I'm going to go and run this. Let us see what happens. So there you can see my SSIS package is running, and while my SSIS package is running, you can see that if everything works fine, it actually shows you a green sign, but if there are errors, it actually shows you this red sign here. So you can see here, I have some errors here. You can see that one is I'm seeing a green sign here, which indicates that the reading from CSV is fine, but the time it went to insert into SQL Server, that means into the database, there was a problem. So you can see that there is a red sign over here.
Now this red sign here does not indicate what exactly is the error. It does tell you that yes, there is an error here, but it does not indicate that what exactly is the error. So when you get an error like this, right, in order to go and see exactly what the error is, you can see that there is a progress tab here. Okay, so click on this progress tab and go and see the first red sign in this progress tab. So this progress tab actually tells you that what exactly is happening, when the package is executing. So basically it is validating, basically it is starting, basically the pipeline is getting executed, etc. But you can see here this red sign here indicates that where exactly the error happened, and it also provides a detailed description of it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and copy this thing. So I'm going to go and copy this message, and let us open this message in a notepad. Also, let me copy the next error message after this as well, so that I can get a better insight of it. So you can see that there our error messages, and what I can see is that it says that it is trying to convert a string into a money data type, and that's where it is failing. And if you remember, right, our SQL server had one of our fields as money data type. Okay, so let us go and open our CSV, and let us see that if any one of these fields over here are not of proper numeric. So you can see that, okay, this is numeric, this is numeric. So you can see this is the customer amount which is there. So I can see that almost all the values are good. Oh, but I can see that there are some empty enters down below. Can you see this? You can see that down below, after this last record 1008, you can see that there are some empty enters, right? And because of that, this must be he's trying to take a nothing value, and that nothing value is not able to convert into a money, right? So let us go and delete these empty values here. Right, let me save this file. Now let me go and rerun this package. Again, to rerun this package, first thing you have to stop the package. You have to stop this execution. You can see that I have moved my mouse on the stop debugging, right? So I'm going to go and stop the debugging. And again, now let me go and start the package. So there the package starts running. Remember, if it is green, it is successful. If it is red, there is a problem. Now you can see that all the records have successfully been extracted, transformed, and loaded. And you can see here it also shows you the number of rows that has moved from the source to the destination. Okay, so you can see this value here, 8 rows. Okay, so let us quickly go back to our SQL server to just check if everything was okay. So I'm going to go to my SQL server. Let us go and open the table here. So you can see I have right click on this TBL customer. I will say select top 1000 rows, and let us see that if all our 8 rows of the CSV has been uploaded into the table or not. So there it is, and you can see that all the rows have been uploaded successfully, 1001, 1002 till 1008, and all the rows have come into the SQL server. Now, in order to fix issues like the empty rows, which I've just done from the CSV file, one of the things you'd like to have in your hand is what kind of rows are getting circulated from the source to the destination, or what rows are moving from one component to the other component. So this path, which connects, one component to the other component, you'd like to know that what row is getting transformed from this component to the other component. So for that, you can use something called as data viewers. So you can right click on this arrow here on the path which connects one component to the other component, and you can click on this menu here called as enable data viewer. Once you go and click on enable data viewer, you can see that he puts a small icon of a lens here, which indicates that data viewer is now activated for this path. So now if I go and run this, so what it does is, before the data gets into that customer data warehouse, you can see that the program has halted over here, and he has popped up a small window, a small grid, indicating that what kind of rows are getting transferred from this component to this component. So in case you have empty rows, you could have easily noticed down below, right? So this feature, you can always use to debug the SSIS program. And you can see that again there is an error sign here. Can you guess what is this error sign? This error sign, so if you go down below, you can see that it says it's a primary key violation error, right? So if you go and put this, you can see that it's a primary key violation error, duplicate key. Why? Because if you remember, in our TBL customer, the customer code is unique. It has a primary key, right? So that's why, when I try to run the package again, it actually showed me this error here, because, duplicates are not allowed for a primary key. So you can see that how easy it is to know what the error is in SSIS. Again, I repeat, go to the progress tab, scroll below and go to the first red sign, copy this text and read it carefully. So now we are done with extraction and loading, but we would like to see some examples around transformation as well. So let us do like this. If you see at this moment, the customer name is going all in the same case as it is. In other words, if the customer name is in a small case in the text file, it is going as a small case in the database. We would like to go and make all these customer name in upper cases. So we would like to do some transformation on the data. So before the data goes from the extraction to the loading part, we would like to go and capitalize the customer name. Okay, so let me go and delete this data first, or else I will get a primary key violation. So I'm going to go and delete this data from here. And let us go back here. Let us go and delete this link from extraction to the loading. Now you can see here, one is we have the source, that is the extraction. One is we have the loading, that is the destination. Now we have the transforms in this other transforms, as well as we have the common transforms in the common folder. Okay. So what we'll do is, let us go and put a derived column. A derived column is nothing but it is an extra column which will get created from the existing column data. So what I would like to do here is, I would like to take that customer name and create one more column called as upper customer name, right? So let me go and first put this output to the derived column, and here I will say this is capital case, right? So here I will go and do an edit. So here I would like to take the existing customer name, and I would like to go and add a new column. You can see you can either replace the existing column, or you can add a new column here called as U customer name, means upper customer name. Okay, and you can see there are lots of functions which we can use. There are mathematical functions, there are string functions, right? So let us go and use the string function. So the best way what you can do is, watch this very closely. Let us say I want to do uppercase. You can see there are lots of string functions here, but to do uppercase, you can see there is an uppercase function here. So let us go and drag and drop this uppercase over here, and let us give customer name to this. Again, I repeat. Again, let me show this demo. I'm dragging and dropping this uppercase here, and then giving the customer name as an input to the upper function, right? And let me do OK. So now I have added a derived column, or I'll say there is an extra column which has been added called as U customer name. So that data now I will pass it to the customer data warehouse, and over here I will go and change my mappings. Remember, our mappings currently are pointing towards this customer name. So I don't want the data to be now taken from the customer name. We would like to take the data from where? From the U customer name, right? And let us say OK, and let us save this. So let us again go and run the program. So I'm going to go and click on start here. So there it goes, 8 rows transferred. Nice. Let us go back. Let us do a select. Let us see. There it is, transformation. So we have seen a very decent cycle of extraction, transformation and loading. Now, before we quickly wrap up this first 1 hour of a training, I would like to talk about the structure of SSIS project. So in order to see the structure of SSIS project, you have to click on view and you have to click on solution explorer. Okay. Once you click on that, you get something like this. Now, at the base level, at the bottom level, whenever you are doing this drag and drop, you are writing things over here, you are working on a file called as the .dtsx file. So you can see this is termed as a package. So the package is where you go and write your data flow, where you go and write your control flow. So this package.dtsx is what has your actual extraction, transformation, loading, your control flow, your data flow, everything goes inside this package. So whenever you are dragging and dropping on this designer like this, you are actually modifying this DTSX file. Now this DTSX file at the bottom below is nothing but it's an XML file. If you right click on this and if you just say view code, you would see that there is nothing but XML. At the end of the day, you don't go and modify this XML because it is very difficult to understand. You always go via the designer, but you can see at the base level it is nothing but it's an XML file, right? So okay, I have to close the package. So at the base level, what we have is we have the DTSX file, that is our package. So this is termed as our package. Now this package belongs to a project. So you can see this SSIS customer, it is actually a project. So this DTSX or the package belongs to a project and the project belongs to a solution. So again, I repeat the way the structure of SSIS project is. At the base, we have the XML file, which is our DTSX file. DTS stands for Data Transformation Services. In the previous version of SQL Server, when you wanted to move data from a source to a destination, there was a concept called as DTS, Data Transformation Services. People who are very old to SQL Server, they would know what I'm saying. Now, what they have done is they have taken the same DTS and built this complete SSIS over it. That's why they have named it as DTSX. X means there is something extra to it. Okay. So you have package belongs to a project and project belongs to a solution. So you can have multiple packages inside a project and you can have multiple projects inside a solution. So in this also I can go and add new projects if I want, or I can also go and add new packages if I want, right? So remember the structure of SSIS project: package, project and solution. So we have completed almost 1 hour of a training, and you can see that we have covered so many topics in this 1 hour. We first started with the definition of BI. After that we saw a full BI life cycle. After that we saw that how MSBI fits into this full BI life cycle, right? So we talked about SSIS, SSAS and SSRS. So we said that SSIS is for ETL, SSAS is for analysis and SSRS is for reporting. After that we started with a small project. We created a CSV file, we extracted that CSV file, we loaded into SQL Server. We also saw that how we can go and see the errors by looking at the execution results tab. We also saw what is the difference between a control flow tab and a data flow tab. We also saw how the structure of the SSIS project is. So basically we have a DTSX file, and the DTSX file is nothing but an XML. It belongs to a project and project belongs to a solution. So you can see that in this 1 hour of a training, we completed so many topics. We almost did a full SSIS project. So as I've said, it's a 4 days of training, that is 32 hours. So we have just completed 1 hour of a training till now, and we have more 31 hours to go. And if you have the zeal to learn, then I have the zeal to teach you, believe me. So if you are willing to see the remaining 31 hours, yes, I am here to teach you for the remaining 31 hours. So keep moving, don't give up, lock yourself up for 4 days in the room and come out as a true BI professional. And remember that this is just a start. Okay, so my goal is to take this project to a very, very professional level, very kind of a live project kind of a thing. So I'm going to cover a lot of in-depth topics. So don't miss out the remaining 31 hours. Keep going,
Keep rocking and let us become a true MSBI professional end to end.